You're listening to 90.8 Hills FM Radio.
This is 90.8 Hills FM radio station, using our voice to rate your choice. Stay tuned.
Hello there, listeners. You are tuning in to 90.8 Hills FM. This is Lipok in conversations with my good friend, my buddy, Dr. Viko. So I can introduce you to the aspect of his life that I know. He's a wonderful husband, a wonderful friend, and he even runs a vet shop, right, at Nagarjan? So that's about the informal introduction that I know about him. Officially presenting to you the man introducing himself. Dr. Viko, if you would care to introduce yourself to our listeners.
Thank you, Lipok, for the brief introduction. Before we proceed to our discussion, I would just like to briefly introduce myself again. So my name is Dr. Viko, short for Dr. Vikover Nipu. So I am a veterinarian by profession, and I am currently working with the state cooperative company called DIMUL, which is a dairy cooperative company. And I am working in the capacity of manager, where I am responsible for all the processing and the quality controls done at the company.
So I am aware of some products that DIMUL offers. For example, lassi, big fan of those.
Yeah.
The dahi as well, great. I remember back in the days you made ice cream as well, right?
Yeah, we still do ice creams.
Oh, that's great. So share with us your experiences so far. How has it been managing a cooperative? And at the start, why don't we go about understanding what cooperative is all about as well?
Oh, wonderful, Lipok. So before we venture into what cooperative company like us is doing in the state, I would just want to give you an overview of the history of how the cooperative movement actually started, the dairy cooperative movement. So it started off in the year 1949. So in Gujarat, Kaira district. So this will be a story. I hope it will be interesting enough for the listeners.
I'm all in it for stories. Let's go.
So in a district called Kaira, which is in Gujarat state, so the government of Bombay signed an MOU with the Polson Limited Company. It's a private company to procure all the milks from that district, Kaira, and bring it to Bombay. So this was the Bombay Milk Scheme. So during this time, this scheme was proven to be very profitable for the government and also proven to be very profitable for the middleman. But the main people who were affected in this scheme were the farmers, were the dairy farmers. So they kept on raising this issue of procurement rates, that they have been cheated by the middleman. And the government was least bothered about what was happening because they were making enough profit for themselves. So they kept on raising this issue, and they met with Mr. Patil, our then Deputy Prime Minister. He was the one who advocated for the farmers. And he was the one who pushed the farmers to form these cooperative societies. So the farmers, once they start this cooperative society, they can pull in their milk together, they can chill their milk, and they can undergo the process called pasteurization, where they will be able to sell their product directly to the vendors, directly to the consumers also. So, and that is how from the district of Kaira, the dairy cooperative movement started, and with the help of Mr. Patil, and they were able to convince the government of Bombay and government of India to help the union to get financial help from UNICEF and also government of New Zealand, and the technical aid from FAO.
And what is FAO?
The Food Agricultural Organization, which is an international organization.
So all of this happened in the year 1950, correct?
Yes.
So then you were talking about them starting a cooperative. So are we talking about like Amul as a cooperative in this example?
Yes. So it started off as a producer cooperative. So it was called the Kaira District Cooperative Milk Producers Union Limited. So it is a district union. So union is a district level organization, and the village level is all the village dairy cooperatives. So they formed together. They started this union with the help of the state government institutions and the FAO, and they were able to set up a plant where they brought all the milks procured from these village societies. They processed it, pasteurized it, and they marketed it. So that was the birth of Amul.
Oh.
And you know what Amul means in Sanskrit?
What does it mean?
Amul is short for Amulya, which
Right.
means priceless.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
Yes.
priceless. Wow, very interesting, very interesting.
And after which, and I would want to talk about Operation Floods or the White Revolution. So
Great,
all of
great.
this started after Amul was officially formed.
Right.
And now, very interesting again, our then former Prime Minister, Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri, was the key person to initiate the formation of all cooperative unions
Right.
in the country. So he visited Kaira on for the inauguration
Right.
of their cattle feed mill. So he was there. He spent a night in Kaira district and he interacted with the farmers. And he was so happy with what the cooperative union was doing, the Kaira cooperative union was doing, that he entrusted Mr. Korean, who was the then general manager of Amul, to implement this and to replicate this Anand model to all the state
Of India.
of India. And that is how DIMUL was also formed. But
Oh.
DIMUL was formed
Much later.
much
right,
later in
right,
1984 as Komul.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Yes, because earlier there was no Dimapur district. We were all under Kohima district.
Correct.
And that's why the name Komul, which is an acronym for Kohima District Cooperative Milk Producers Union Limited.
Oh.
And so with the shift of Kohima district,
Right, right,
we started DIMUL in the year 1997 at 7 Mile,
right, right.
Chumukidima, right now. And we are under the brand name of DIMUL, which is just an acronym for Dimapur District Cooperative Milk Producers Union Limited. So that is how the dairy cooperative unions was set up in India. And that is how we, under the funding of the government of India, under the Integrated Dairy Development Program, we were able to set up the dairy union in Dimapur.
So continuing our narrative from the start of how we're sharing a story from the start, right? We started with the year 1950 when Amul got started, right? So that's when the cooperative was formed. So basically the idea was to live out the middleman. So it was a win-win scenario for both the consumers and the producers as well. Because why the consumers? You're paying less to get better quality milk. For the producers, you're incentivizing the farmers to produce more milk, hence by increasing production at whole, right?
Yes.
So that was what happened in 1950s. How about we go out down to like 1960s, 70s? 70s is when the White Revolution began, right?
True, yes. So in 1970, before the White Revolution,
Right.
okay, so Mr. Korean, who is known as the father of White Revolution, he formed a board, a national board, which is called the National Dairy Development Board.
Right.
So this National Dairy Development Board was established in 1965, and in the year 1969 to 1970, they formulated a program called the Operations Flood
Right.
or the White Revolution. Okay, so this was done by Dr. Korean after forming the board, National Dairy Development Board, where they brought subject specialists
Right.
in the field of agriculture, in the field of animal husbandry. They sat, they discussed, and they started this program. And under this program, Operation Flood,
Right.
Komul started under Operation Floods 1 in the year 1984, which was fully funded by the government of India and supported by the animal husbandry government of Nagaland. So this is how we started.
The White Revolution, fun fact, it's the world's biggest dairy development program.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
So who was the person heading this entire process?
So a very interesting fact. It is still the largest dairy development program till date. Okay, so it was very, very successful, and the person who headed this is Dr. Korean. Okay,
Right.
he's the father of White Revolution.
Father
and
of
a
White
very
Revolution.
interesting fact is that he's not an animal husbandry specialist. He is not an agriculturist, but he is an engineer.
An engineer leading India's development, White Revolution.
Yes.
Wow.
So Dr. Korean is a man of wonder, and he had this love for the people and the love for dairy. So we are able to achieve all of this through his 1 billion liter vision.
Now that's really impressive.
Yes.
So all of this is happening in the year 1970, right? We started with 1950. Now we're down to 1970. I have a very interesting fact that I would want your input on, right? In the year 1960, India, we ranked the highest in terms of cattle population in the entire world. Now, yet ranked among the highest in terms of cattle production, we were the lowest when it came to milk production. Now, just in one decade from that to what we are right now, it's an impressive journey so far. At times, we as normal people, we tend to forget how amazing the white revolution has been.
Yes.
Same case per se for the Green Revolution as well. So it's having you here today and then deconstructing all of this in understandable bits for us. I would say we're really blessed to have you today, Dr. Viko. Great to continue this chain of conversation.
Lipok, you're being too kind. I would want to really give a shout out to my former managing directors,
Right.
who headed Komul and now DIMUL. It is because of their persistence, their discipline, their hard work that we are where we are, and I am just blessed to be placed in DIMUL, in this organization, after their work. And there are some few names which I would want to mention today. So one is Dr. Ako Yoka, who was the first managing director of Komul, and he was a man of discipline. I still admire him. I still go to him for counsel. And the next person that I would want to really appreciate is Dr. Autoshi.
Right.
Dr. Autoshi is still he's still very vibrant. He has his own private limited company now called Greenfields.
Okay.
And also to my present sitting chief executive officer, Dr. Masi. Because of these people, the organization is flourishing. We have come across some hiccups, but we were able to overcome all of this because of their integrity in the work.
Manners maketh a man. At the end of the day, what are we but the culmination of our thoughts, our morals? We should all develop this habit of giving credit where it's due, and to hear the names of people who have had active hand in uplifting the dairy movement here in Nagaland has been amazing, all thanks to you. So let's go along and dwell more on what the organization has achieved so far.
So wow, thank you. And I would want to also mention some areas where we have helped the societies in general. So we as a district organization, we are responsible for organizing dairy cooperative societies in the village level. So far we are able to organize 52 dairy cooperative societies in the district of Dimapur alone. Of course, now we have Chumukidima district and Newland district. And a total of 1,956 farmers is enrolled with DIMUL as of now.
Wow.
And also, not only that, unregistered farmers from Assam is also pouring their milk to us. So we are able to help the farmers in Assam also. So that is one big achievement that we have done from our part, and we are directly impacting the lives of these farmers. So I am very, very blessed that we are able to do so, and we would want to continue to do better for the farmers again.
So you mentioned about 1,900 farmers enrolled, correct?
Yes.
So which districts are these farmers mostly located at? Where are they from? Are they from Dimapur, Chumuk, Kohima?
So as the name suggests, we are the Dimapur District Cooperative Milk Producers Union. But now our jurisdiction is functioning in Chumukidima as well and in Newland as well. So all of these organizations are situated in all of these districts. And it is ranging from Medzipema. It is coming down to Patkai range. It is coming towards the Dansari Par. It is in Bade area and also towards Newland. And in Assam, since they are from a different state, so they are not able to be registered as a cooperative society, but we are able to help them. And we are procuring around 2,000 liters of milk from Assam daily. So we are able to help a lot of the pouring members there also.
So daily for DIMUL, how much in terms of liters are you procuring from all of them, all of these farmers?
So at an average of 4,000 to 5,000 liters we are able to procure every day.
And do you feel like it's capped at that, or do you need more milk?
We need more milk, definitely.
Right,
And
right.
it's not that there's no milk in and around Dimapur or in Nagaland. But the reason why we are not able to procure as much milk as it is portrayed in the censuses is because, and this is the drawback of cooperatives. So cooperative is a give and take organization where we help one another. So the village cooperative societies are there to give the produce to us, where we procure the milk at a subsidized rate, and then we process the milk and we pasteurize the milk. We process the milk into further byproducts like lassi, dahi, and we package all of this. So all of this incurs cost production, right? So that is the reason why we expect the produce to be at a subsidized rate. And we give them back in return. And if you're wondering how we give them back in return is free animal health care, free trainings for all the society members, and also testing equipments. So in the village societies also, we give them testing equipments so that they can check the quality of milk at the village level. And these are all quantitative testing equipments only, not qualitative. So the main qualitative testings that is to be done are all in the laboratory at the union. So we have a wide range of professionals there. So we take in dairy technologists to look after all the processing, the quality controls. We have veterinarians to look after the procurements, to look after the inputs, to help farmers train for better management, care and management, and also to look into clean milk production.
So basically, you've set up an ecosystem where you need each other to thrive, and it's beneficial for both parties as well.
Yes.
Correct. On the producers' end as well,
Yes.
they have found a market, a niche where they can keep producing, having comfort knowing that there's always someone to take the milk.
Yes.
And for you as well, you have a constant supply of it. You add value to it, and then you market it. And the same way, you make sure that your producers are well taken care of, like providing trainings, making sure that their animals are well taken care of as well. Now, all that is really fascinating, but as I'm getting to know more about you, I'm confused about how you identify yourself with. Do you think you're a social entrepreneur, or would you rather identify yourself maybe as a vet? What's the give and take today, Dr. Viko?
So when you say social entrepreneur, I could only think of Dr. Kurian because he was a social entrepreneur. And I always loved entrepreneurship. I always took up entrepreneurship courses very, very seriously during my UG days also. So I think I'll identify myself as a social entrepreneur like Dr. Kurian, though in terms of technical wise, I am still learning. I am still it's still a long way for me to develop my skills and development. So I think I would want to identify myself as a social entrepreneur in the making.
Right. Because they say, right, you are what you think. So if you're thinking in the sense of entrepreneurship, you think of yourself in that way. I feel that over the course of years with experience working in a corporation as mighty and big as DIMUL, there will really come a time when your impact will be felt. And as today you sit here with me at 90.8 Hills FM, praising Dr. Kuran, there'll be someone out there maybe who will look back and they'll say, oh, thanks to Dr. Vikovor, DIMUL is functioning as beautifully as it is. This is cheesy to say, but I assure you, to all our listeners as well, right? Think positive, man. What's the worst that could happen? Is that, things would go different. What's the best case scenario? Is that things will go exactly like it happened. So on that note, let's wrap up this story about the wide revolution about dairy, and we can move on to our next story altogether. Can you share some highlights or some interesting facts about how the dairy industry in India, or in Nagaland per se as well, has been performing so far?
It's a wonderful question. So I attended a workshop just 2 weeks ago at the National Dairy Development Board, Kolkata. So we were having this workshop, and we came up with the procurement in India. So in India, milk is being produced daily, 57 crore liter per day. So we are the largest producer of milk. And also we are the largest consumer of milk. So what we produce, we are consuming it. So we have our very own well-developed market in India.
So basically, we don't import milk at all.
No. We don't import
Wow.
milk.
Wow. That's a testament to the white revolution. Wow, that's great.
Huni thaka khan sob. STIs mane sexually transmitted infections to ki ase jani lobo ahibi.
STIs to ekjon para ekjon ke sexual contact para lagai diye.
Thik homoite ilaj na kurile itu laga infection para HIV hoi jabole risk to bishi kuri de.
STI to jani lobi identify kuribi aru time te ilaj kuribi.
Itu jankari di ase Nagaland State AIDS Control Society.
So let's continue, and why don't you enlighten us more on what happened at Kolkata with your experience?
Okay, so the workshop that happened in Kolkata was mainly to do with marketing. So we have our marketing officers in the organization, but because of their personal engagements that they had, I represented the marketing officers and I went down to Kolkata.
Right.
So we were all discussing mainly on how to improve our marketing strategies, because now we are in the digital age. So we need to step up our game when it comes to marketing our dairy products. And we discussed on our unique selling products, USPs that we call it. So it was mentioned that any dairy cooperative that is selling their milk, pasteurized milk, more than 50% of the revenue is coming from the milk itself, then they need to change their strategy.
Right.
So that was mentioned by our marketing head of NDDB. And there I was just wondering that some cooperatives, they're selling 70% of their product as milk. Their turnover contribution is 70% just from milk, the sales of milk. But in the case of DIMUL, our sales of milk contribution to our turnover is just 33%.
Right.
So I was just wondering, and I was just thinking, I believe we're in the right track. So that was a reassurance from the workshop also.
So help me understand this. Why would they try and say per se? You mentioned like how DIMUL does it 30%, another corporation does it 70%. Why the emphasis to lower it down on milk, right, and then on other products? Is it like making sure you don't put all your eggs in one basket, or is it about making sure that the milk that you procure, you're adding more value into it, and as you sell your good, you're getting a better price for your value-added product?
Okay, so I forgot to mention that this workshop was for the East and Northeast region cooperative companies. Okay,
Right.
so in the East and Northeast, the largest dairy companies are Suda, which is Bihar cooperative. We have Omfed and Orissa. We have Purabi in Guwahati, Assam, and Sikkim. These are the big cooperatives that procures a lot of milk from the farmers. So they are able to go about with selling more than 50% and contributing to more than 50% of the revenue just from the sales of milk. But then for the smaller cooperatives like us, where procurement is a little bit of a sensitive issue, so they were just suggesting on that aspect, and which is also very true, and that is also very practical.
On that note, what we currently see in trend is a lot of momentum picking up when it comes to sustainable development. In terms of sustainable farming, sustainable dairy tech as well. So would you like to shed some light on these issues as well?
Okay, this is the most interesting part of the discussion. I
Right.
love farming and I love to discuss farming.
Right.
So for me, when we look at sustainable enterprises, I believe that farming is the way to go in our state also. And looking at our economy, farming is the way to go. We are, as you know, we are the largest consumer of pork, meat,
Right.
and also later on, and also we know that we are importing the most amount of pork from other states. You've seen in the dailies.
True.
So a time will come when the pork marketing sector will also become organized.
Right.
But before that, there will be a lot of farmers who will be facing some issues when it comes to marketing their pork meat in the open market. But the time will come when there will be a breakthrough where it will become organized. I've been repeating that several times. But for the dairy industry, I told you it's an organized market because of the initiative of the Operations Floods, right? So when I talk to entrepreneurs who wants to venture into the field of farming, I encourage them to take up cattle farming. And also, I don't want to over encourage somebody where they will step into cattle farming and they will incur losses. Because in cattle, it's quite tricky, okay? Because cattle is it's a little more tactical.
Okay.
It's a little more technical. For example, a very good example is my chairman, the chairman of DIMUL.
Right.
So, he is a layman who passed his class 10. And following which, he was an entrepreneur, a businessman. He was in the timber business. And later on, he shifted his business into dairy. Okay. And he has been in the industry for more than 20 years now.
Wow, that's
So he has produces the largest amount of milk from a single enterprise.
Right.
Okay. So this is not joint venture. From a single enterprise, they are producing lots of milk, and it is being supplied to DIMUL, but majority of it goes to the Dimapur market.
Okay.
Where you go eat your rasgullas, your pedas from all these bakeries, right?
Yes.
So they are using most of his milk because of the good quality. So his name is Mr. Arakate, and huge respect to him. And he is my mentor when it comes to practical farming practices. So people can draw inspiration from his life also. So a layperson being able to acquire all this knowledge even in his middle age, right? So he has acquired the practical aspect, and he has learned, and he has kept himself updated by attending a lot of dairy melas in Punjab, and he goes to Israel also to look at the farming system in out there also. So I would want to encourage people to venture into the dairy enterprise, but learn something about dairy first.
Right.
So, because you just cannot keep a cow. You cannot just feed him whatever you want. So for example, for a local cow, we call it the Nepali system of farming. So that is being practiced in most parts of Nagaland and also in other parts of Northeast. So, but with the introduction of artificial insemination, so a lot of the cows that we see right now are all crossbreds. Some are the first generation, some are the second generation, some are the third generation of Holsteins, some of Jerseys, okay. So these exotic breeds, Holsteins and Jerseys, they produce huge quantity of milk, okay. Our Desi cows, they produce less quantity, but keeping in mind the fat percentage is more in this from the Desi cows.
Right.
But then in the exotics, there's quantity, but the fat percentage is lower compared to the Desi. So here we need to know that when we are raising all these exotic crossbreds, they have a particular feed that should be given to them, a balanced feed. So it is readily available in the market, but some people, they like to compile their own feed by purchasing the wheat bran, by purchasing maize powders and oil cakes and urea. So they compile their own feed meal, so that because all these exotics high yield cattle require specific proteins, specific nutrients.
Right.
So we need to be equipped in this manner. And also we know that cattle are milked twice a day.
Okay.
That is in the morning and that is in the afternoon. So it is, the milking interval is 8 hours, 8 to 12 hours. So we need to be equipped with that. So before you venture into farming, get one cattle, experiment it yourself, and you find the best way which suits you, okay.
Right.
And then you can train up your personnel to look after the farm. In your absence, and we are all human, and we are all dealing with man management, labor management, right? So they will have off days. Some days they will want to go to the villages, right? So during this time, you may have to get another personnel to look after the cattle. So if you are equipped in that area, then it's easier for you to transition from one personnel to the other personnel. So I keep encouraging people to be well versed. When I say, doesn't mean it is very technical, where you can acquire all of this only through textbooks, but then through practical experience also you can acquire all this.
Attention everyone, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways is stepping up to provide compensation to hit and run motor accident victims. if a life is tragically lost, legal representatives receive 2 lakhs, and for grievous injuries, 50,000 is offered. The process is swift and straightforward. The applicant, that is, the accident victim or representative of deceased victim, shall submit the claims to the Claims Inquiry Office SDO. Within 1 month, the officer shall prepare an inquiry report and submit to the Claims Settlement Commissioner, that is, the Deputy Commissioner of the respective district. The DC shall issue sanction order in 15 days, and the compensation swiftly follows through General Insurance Council. For more details and to download the form, you may log into www.gicouncil.in. Also, for all your queries and assistance, you can also reach out to the district level officers nominated by the General Insurance Council. For Kohima citizens, you can call the number 940267929, or you can mail your queries at kekisezo.zao@nic.co.in, which is kekiiisezo.zoa@nic.co.in. And for all the other districts, you can call the number 943-660-3482, or you can mail your doubts to zh.sema@nic.co.in. This information comes from the Motor Vehicles Department, Transport, Nagaland.
So the first step to doing this sustainably is knowing what you're getting yourself into, right? Not just hearsay about rumors about how much money you'll be making, but actually putting in time to do research about things that are relevant to the industry that you'll be heading forward to. Before you do it on a large scale, do it on a small scale, experiment it yourself. Or on the things that you were sharing, I had this question: is it labor intensive?
Cattle?
Yeah, cattle farming, is it labor intensive?
Yes, it is cattle intensive. But
Right.
one thing how we are able to curb down labor management
Right.
is because of all the crossbreds through artificial insemination. So artificial insemination program is going on. It is headed by the Nagaland Livestock Development Board. We are also implementing this in our offices. We are also giving free artificial inseminations to all our farmers. Okay.
Wow.
So we have the semen straws for the breed of Holstein Friesian, for the breed of Jersey, for the breed of Gyr also, and also for the breed of buffalo, Mura buffalo.
Achha.
So we have all of this, and with this rapid artificial insemination program that is taking place, okay, in and around the state, so people are getting good quality exotic breeds now, and with this, you can have less number of cattle, and your production increases, which reduces your labor intensity also. So if you are very interested, 5 cows, if you have good quality 5 cows, that is the third, fourth generation of Holstein. From 5 cows, if you milk 20 liters from 1 cow per day, you can get 100 liters, provided you give them a good feed, composite feed, right?
So there's a sustainable business options available to our young entrepreneurs as well.
Yes.
What is the government doing in regard to this? Are there any schemes that they can avail?
Yes, for example, just recently the Chief Minister's microfinance scheme was introduced.
Right.
So there are slots for dairy farmers also. And also NABARD is providing schemes for all this. Of course, most of the schemes right now are in terms of partial loan.
Right.
A lot of it are in partial loan. If you're looking for grant, then the era of grant is gone.
Yeah, it's done. Like, how long can we expect the government to spoon feed us?
True.
Grants, or say waivers as well, loan waivers, all of this in an economic sense, it's chaos.
True.
How can I keep spending from my pocket each and every time without any of my investments actually making returns? It's like burning money, to be honest, right? So I think this is a good moment to tell our people as well. The era of grants is gone. You're getting loans, You're getting loans at very reasonable rates.
True.
Approaching the bar, like
Yes.
you shared, right? And the other scheme, the Chief Minister scheme as well, they can apply for it. So what are the interest rates? Any idea on it?
So, for example, in the Agriculture Infrastructure Development Funds,
Right.
there is a subvention of 3% interest rate. Okay, from the total interest rate, 3% is going to be there will be subvention. So it comes down to 6% interest rate.
That's phenomenal. That's great.
True.
That's very affordable loans. Honestly, that's really good interest loans, right?
Yes.
Inflation goes about like 7%. Whatever you do with your money or not, what is inflation? If you have 100 rupees starting 1st of Jan, by December, if the inflation of the country runs at 7%, so what you could buy for 100 rupees at Jan 1, you will not be able to buy the same by December 31st. Because 7% of your value has eroded naturally. It's eroding. So I think we should change that perspective on how we see loans as. If you're putting it towards doing something productive, then it's a tool that can help you generate money.
True.
If you're creating assets. But if you're taking loans to build luxury for yourself, then altogether that's chaos in itself.
Yes.
So getting back on track, can you share something on sustainable farming as well?
Oh yes, I forgot to mention about natural farming. Okay, this is being promoted by the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India, implemented by the departments of agriculture, okay, of the state. So natural farming, in a sense, it is promoting organic farming.
Right.
So in natural farming, what is happening is this: it is an integrated type of farming where it incorporates agriculture practices, livestock practices, and also horticulture practices. Okay. So here the main idea is this: you keep a cow, you keep cattle. Okay.
Right.
So the feces is being used as manures for the agriculture practices, for the horticulture practices. Okay. This is to avoid using fertilizers,
Artificial fertilizers.
artificial fertilizers, and so that we produce from these manures, we produce fodders. This fodders in turn is being used to feed the cattle.
Right.
Okay, so that they are trying to minimize the import of.
Basically trying to create an ecosystem where one element supports one another.
Yes, so minimize the imports of resources from external
Right.
medium.
Making it more cost effective in the entire process
True.
as well.
So, if people are interested in the natural farming, then the agriculture department is working on this, and I believe there are centrally sponsored schemes. Okay, you can avail some schemes under PKVY, Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. Okay, so I don't know the details about this scheme, but then if you can contact your department, that is the agriculture department, they will be more than happy to talk to you regarding the schemes.
Agriculture is something that is very close to India. Before independence, about 95 of our population depended on agriculture to have a sustainable source of income. That was our economy at large, 95%, right? And while it was worth mentioning that out of our entire population, about 85% of them were living in rural areas.
Yes.
So it made sense for us to engage in agricultural practices. Over the years, of course, things are looking different now, but still now, yet as well. I think we are an agrarian economy, which means most of our GDP contributing factor is thanks to agriculture.
Yes.
So this is something that will always stay relevant with us. Can you give us more examples, per se, on Sikkim and how they're doing a fantabulous job of they're doing organic farming, right? And all their vegetables are absolutely organic.
Yes.
So this raises their per person capita income as well.
Yes.
I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
So I am not an expert in organic farming, but I do know a little bit about organic farming and how Sikkim was also able to achieve this status of organic, right? So in order to start an organic farm, I heard some certain kilometers surrounding your farm, where you want to make it organic, should also not use any chemical fertilizers. Okay, so it is difficult to achieve organic farming unless all the societies, with the help of the government and the people, the civil societies come together, organic farming is going to be difficult to attain.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What is the benefit of going organic, by the way?
I am not an expert in organic farming, so I won't be able to say much about that.
But at least I think the product-wise, say, you'd have more value for the produce, because organic, maybe potatoes are more expensive than your normal potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, we have to put into future if the market also wants it. Are you aware of any market trends with organic farming? If not here in Nagaland per se, in India as well, is the trend picking up?
Yes. So, for example, I'll talk about milk. Okay.
Right.
So, since I am in the dairy industry, so for example, in some cooperatives in Kolkata, they are coming up with organic milk.
Oh.
So organic milk is much more expensive than your normal milk that you get in the market. One reason is because all the fodders are cultivated
in an organic way.
In an organic way, without
Okay.
any chemicals. It's being fed to a cattle
Yeah.
where they are not using any medicines.
Right.
Okay, so this cattle is being fed organic fodders. It's not being injected with medicines. It is following all the traditional method, and you're procuring the milk from them, and then the cooperative is processing it. Hence, organic milk. And also, there is a very strict organization that monitors this. And also, I want to mention that NDDB, the National Dairy Development Board, is also trying to come up with a program to take over the organic certification part.
Quite an interesting conversation, I must say. So earlier, I'll make something that I shared a little bit more interesting. Sikkim is the first organic state in India that we know for sure.
Yeah.
But did you know that it's also the first organic state in the world?
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
So their people, their local population also enjoys higher per capita income compared to the rest of the country who deal in agricultural produce.
So when it comes to agriculture and its practices, I'm quite ignorant. I need to work on that. I need to study on that.
It'd be wrong on my behalf, or on the behalf of all our listeners here today, to expect you to come and share about agriculture with us. You're a dairy specialist, so we would love to hear more on that.
Okay, so I want to bring some awareness regarding milk. Okay. So you know that fresh milk contains higher percentages of fat. It can range from 4% fat to 6% fat, and we Nagas, we love to consume higher fat percentage milk.
Of course,
yeah.
Yes.
But now that we are seeing a trend in fitness, so a lot of people are consuming less calories. Okay, so hence now they are preferring toned milk.
Right.
Some people prefer double toned milk, but double toned is for those people who have no exercise in their life. Okay. So for high
healthy individual who does exercise on a regular basis,
yes, they require higher quantity of calories, right? So they require higher percentage fat. But the reason I want to bring the awareness regarding this is that sometimes you get very thin density milk.
Right.
Sometimes you get thick density milk, right?
Okay.
When you get thick density milk, we think that it's high fat, not knowing what they have added to increase this thickness also.
Right.
And this is called the adulteration practices, okay, which is very, very common.
Right.
So in fat, to determine the quality, fat percentage and SNF is very important.
Okay.
And SNF is the solids, not fat.
Okay.
Or the solids, not fat, okay?
Right.
So this can be carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, proteins, amino acids, all of this, sugar, whatnot. So in order to manipulate the SNF in fresh milk, you can just add sugar.
Oh.
So the SNF increases, which adds to the thickness of the milk density. So once we receive the milk, all the cooperatives, once we receive the milk, we do a testing called the adulteration test to see whether the farmers are cheating us for economic gain. Or not, right? So one is we test for water, because water is being added to increase the quantity, but the quality decrease drastically. They add sugar to increase the SNF. So in order to increase the fat,
Right.
you need butterfat,
Okay.
which is more expensive.
Huh.
Yeah, right. So people don't go for increasing the fat. Okay. So we see mostly addition of sugar,
Right.
salt, hydrogen peroxide, and in other states,
Right.
can you believe they add formaldehyde? It's a
That's the same thing that they put in fish to make sure it lasts a longer
Yes.
time, right? Preservative agent.
yes, and also they
Oh.
add hydrogen peroxides,
Wow.
urea.
Urea.
Yes. So we have testings for all this,
Right.
so that they do not cheat us economically. But then we do this to ensure that our end consumers are not consuming any of these toxic substances. Okay.
Right. Right.
So that's why we do all this testing, and we put our heart into this.
True.
And so I want to bring awareness to the listeners is that fresh milk, if you're getting from the right source, then go ahead with it, no problem.
Right.
But from an unknown source, if you're taking
Right,
fresh
if you
milk,
doubt
there are
it.
the dangers
Hmm.
of addition of this all these adulterants.
True.
So the cooperatives we are working together, all the cooperatives we are working together to curb out all this
Right.
addition of adulterants, and also there is a prevention of food adulterants. All right, they are under FSSAI, the Food Safety
Right.
and Standards Authority of India. So they give us minimum standards on how much. So for example, the milk that we use, the fresh milk that we procure, is converted into toned milk, right?
Right.
So I told you that fresh milk can be anywhere from 4% fat to 6% fat, whereas toned milk is standardized 3% fat, 8.5% SNF. Okay.
Okay.
But in order to bring down this fat percentage to 3, we have addition of some skim milk powder. These are all dairy byproducts.
Okay.
So there are standards for us to follow, and which are recommended by the national agencies. Right. So we follow this, and then when we follow this, we take the highest care into attaining the end product. So we use skim milk powders, and then these are all tested. These are all tested and approved
Right.
by FSSAI, and also we do, as you know, I told you we do adulteration tests
Right.
in the raw milk.
Right.
So if there's any hint of any toxic adulterants that is being added, we notify the food safety officers. Okay, and that is how we work closely to ensure that our consumers get the best quality product. And also this is one of the reasons why we are trying to bring awareness, not a marketing strategy, but more on food safety strategy, right?
Right.
To ensure people that if you go for our packet milk from any cooperative, we ensure you that you get the best quality, and we have tested for all of these adulterants. We have tested for all the we maintain the lactic acid percentages,
Right.
and we have done all the testing in our in situ laboratories.
Great. So as we're developing further, I was thinking, is there any difference? Can you identify buffalo milk from cow milk? Is there a certain procedure? Because buffalo milk is thicker, I feel.
Yes. So in buffalo milk, the fat percentage can range from 6% to as high as 8%.
Okay.
But the one area where you can distinguish cow milk and buffalo milk is the color.
The color. Okay.
So buffalo's milk is white,
Right.
and cow's milk is a little yellowish.
That's nice. Okay.
But the nutritional value is the same.
Oh,
It's just that in buffalo milk, there is this protein called keratin. This beta carotene pigment is converted into colorless vitamin A. So that is the reason why buffalo milk is white. This is the same procedure in cow's milk, but then the beta carotene pigments conversion rate is lower.
Okay.
That is the reason why cow's milk is yellowish, buffalo milk is white.
And here, for DIMUL's case, when you're procuring your milk, are you looking for cow's milk in specific, or like buffalo's milk will do as well?
No, we go for mixed milk. So we can...
And the price is same for cow's milk and the buffalo's milk.
No, for example, if you get milk,
Right.
irrespective of what milk it is, can be cow's milk, can be buffalo milk. The price factor depends on the fat and the SNF value.
Oh,
Mhm.
alright.
So the more the
Makes
fat
sense.
and the more the SNF, you get more value out of it. Yeah.
Great. So let's talk about some of the products that DIMUL offers in general. I love your lassi, right? And milk as well. Now, I think for the common consumer, when you look at the packet of milk, it's written pasteurized milk.
Yes.
Care to share more on that?
So the pasteurization method that we follow is the high temperature, short time pasteurization. There are 3 types of pasteurization basically: low temperature, high time, high temperature, short time, and we have the ultra high temperature. So we follow the high temperature, short time, where our milk is being exposed to 80 degrees Celsius for 20 seconds.
Okay.
Right. So here, the basic idea of pasteurization is this: in raw milk, the enzyme alkaline phosphatase is present, which is not digested by the human body. Okay. So when near to pasteurization temperature, the alkaline phosphatase is broken down or digested, right? So once after pasteurization is done, we need to do the phosphatase test,
right,
to check whether alkaline phosphatase is present or not. If it is present, it indicates that there has been some addition of raw milk, or the pasteurization unit has not
did not go successfully.
Yes, successfully. So we do the pasteurization again.
Right. So, like, one question that I keep on getting from friends and families is it safe to drink the milk as it is from the Tetra Pak itself, or from the small sheet of pack that you marketed? Is it
Yes.
safe to drink like that, raw?
Yes, because it's already pasteurized, and
Okay,
we have done the
that's great.
testing, so we can drink it directly. The more we boil the milk, the more nutrients is being broken down.
All right. Yes. So it makes more sense to drink it up from the packet straight up.
Yes.
So to all our listeners, today, if you have queries regarding products and services that DIMUL offers, you can catch them up on the Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
DIMUL_Dimapur.
Great. So they are DIMUL, DIMUL_Dimapur. Questions taki shole do tangi DM kuni hudi bina. Oh, lasi do kininga bunai. Dahi do kininga bunai. They are interested takila. I'm definitely sure that they will get back to you with responses that will satisfy your query. So, Dr. Vico, we've started off with understanding the white revolution, now up to talking about sustainable practice. All in all, it's been an exciting talk with you. As we
Thank you.
try and wind up for this conversation, is there any more pointers that you would like to share with the community today?
So I just want to share that the awareness that I've given about milk is not, it's not from the marketing aspect. Okay,
Right,
it is only, this is only for public awareness, and this is for public safety and public health. Yeah.
So, to all our listeners, right, at the end of the day, know what you're consuming. We are very easily swayed by false information. So, one thing, Dr. Vico, that we are also doing here is called a program called Fakshala.
Okay.
So, Fakshala is basically what we notice is information comes to us in many ways. We are so engaged with the internet. At times, you know,
Okay.
do you think your parents trust you? Do you think they trust you? They believe you, your parents?
Yes, they do.
They do, right?
Yes.
I think the same.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, someone they trust more than their sons or their daughters per se is WhatsApp. You remember the time when the earthquake notification came on WhatsApp and everyone went mad crazy, right? So issues like this
Okay,
is,
understood.
even though our
Yeah.
people are really smart when it comes to digitally being literate, we suffer. We're a little on the sideline, and that's something we need to work on. So to battle that, we're going through with a program called Fakshala. So similarly, today you coming and sharing on the information on milk as well. To all our listeners, take this information. Information is power at the end of the day. Take this seriously, right? I hope that by the end of this conversation, you walk away feeling good about yourself, knowing that by the end of it, at least kuch to sikha. Right? At your heart, you should feel that way. That's the objective of all the conversations that we've had so far. So, on the closing note, to anyone who felt motivated, who is motivated enough to get into the dairy industry, and if you feel like you need someone to go to and talk to, and you could use more direction with your purpose, then is it safe to say that DIMUL has them covered?
Yes. To be honest, some individual entrepreneurs are much more well versed in this line of work than me. I just so happen to be working with this in an industry where I am blessed to be a part of this industry. So people automatically just look at me expecting me to answer all their queries also. But then since I'm blessed to be working in this industry, I will be able to help them out wherever I can. But then the people should also come with the expectation that I don't know everything.
Of course, right. The thing with some of us is we go to certain, say maybe a career fair, we'll go there, but with no direction whatsoever.
Understood, yeah.
So you go to an interview and they ask you things, maybe a job interview, and they'll ask you about what your passion is, what you want to do. And you're like, understood,
yeah.
So to our listeners as well, the doors are open for you, but make sure you go there with a sense of purpose. You have meaning behind. You'll reach to them. And thank you so much for taking the time off to come here and to just have this conversation with me. I really appreciate that, Dr. Viko.
I thank you, Lipok, for having me here, and also to the family of Hills FM. I've been listening to Hills FM since its induction, and it keeps me entertained. And I've set my radio frequency to 90.8, so whenever I start my car, Hills FM starts blaring out.
Great. Thank you. I always felt like, honey was the sweetest thing on earth. But my friend, your flattery is even sweeter than that. On that note, we wind up here at 90.8 Hills FM Nagaland. Mighty thanks to all our listeners for always continuing to tune in to 90.8 and for supporting us. I hope you had as much fun listening to our conversations as I enjoyed conversing with you, Dr. Viko.
Hi, thank you so much, Lipok. You're too kind.
You're listening to 90.8 Hills FM Radio.
This is 90.8 Hills FM radio station, using our voice to rate your choice. Stay tuned.